I gave a kidney to a nobody on the street, not knowing he was the secret heir to a $90 billion empire. But it didn't start there. It started with the sound of a shallow, ragged breath on a cold sidewalk. "Sir? Sir, can you hear me?" I knelt beside him, my hand hovering over his shoulder, afraid to touch him, afraid not to. His clothes were torn and dirty, and his skin was so pale it looked like milk under the harsh streetlights. He was just a boy, maybe a few years older than me. His eyes fluttered open, a startling, brilliant green, but they were unfocused, lost in a fog of pain. "Help me," he whispered, the words barely a puff of air. My heart hammered against my ribs. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers shaking as I dialed 911. "I have a man down," I told the operator, my voice tight. "He's unresponsive. I think he's in bad shape." The paramedics who arrived a few minutes later didn't seem to share my urgency. They moved with a slow, bored rhythm, their faces impassive. One of them nudged the man's foot with his boot. "Another one," he said to his partner, his voice dripping with disgust. "Probably just drunk." A hot rage flared in my chest. "He is not drunk," I snapped, stepping between them and the man on the ground. "He asked for help. He's sick. Can't you see?" The taller paramedic looked me up and down, a smirk playing on his lips. "And you're a doctor, are you?" "I'm a person with eyes," I shot back. "And I see someone who is suffering. Now, are you going to do your job, or am I going to start recording this for your supervisor?" That got their attention. With a shared sigh of annoyance, they loaded him onto a gurney. As they lifted him, a small, worn-out book fell from the pocket of his thin jacket. It was bound in dark leather, so old the cover was soft and cracked. I picked it up without thinking and followed them to the ambulance. "I'm coming with him," I said, climbing in before they could object. I didn't know his name. I didn't know his story. All I knew was that in his hazy green eyes, I saw a loneliness that felt terrifyingly familiar. At the hospital, they pushed me into a waiting room that smelled of bleach and quiet desperation. Hours crawled by. I called my boss at the diner, told her I wouldn't be in. She wasn't happy, but I didn't care. I couldn't leave. My best friend, Sarah, called me 3 times before I finally answered. "Kelly, where are you? You were supposed to meet me an hour ago." "I'm at St. Jude's," I said, my voice low. There was a pause. "What happened? Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I found someone, a man on the street. He was sick, so I came with him." Sarah let out a long, frustrated sigh. I could picture her perfectly, pinching the bridge of her nose, her beautiful face a mask of worry. "Kelly,
We've talked about this.
you can't be a hero for every stray person you find. The world is a big, messy place. You can't fix all of it." "I'm not trying to fix the world, Sarah," I whispered, clutching the little leather book in my hands. "I'm just trying to fix this one small piece of it. You don't even know him. It doesn't matter." But it did. It mattered because my own father died alone in a hospital room years ago, and the guilt of not being there was a stone I carried in my pocket every single day. I couldn't save him, but maybe, just maybe, I could save this stranger. "Hey, my friend, hope you're doing well. Drop a comment and let me know how you're feeling about this story so far and where you're watching from. Some stories are too close to my heart to share on YouTube. I send those, along with little life lessons and surprises, to my email circle. If you'd like to be part of it, you can join with the link in the description. Finally, a tired-looking doctor in blue scrubs came out to the waiting room. "Are you family for the John Doe?" "No," I said, standing up. "I'm the one who found him. Is he okay?" The doctor's expression was grim. "His kidneys have failed. Completely. We're talking end-stage renal disease. From what we can tell, it looks like a genetic condition that's gone untreated for a very long time." My stomach dropped. "So, what does that mean? Dialysis?" "He's too weak for long-term dialysis to be a real solution," the doctor said, his voice flat and clinical. "His body is shutting down. Without a transplant, he has a few weeks, maybe a month if he's lucky." A month. The words echoed in the silent room. A ticking clock had just been placed on a stranger's life. What about the transplant list? The doctor gave me a pitiful look. The list is years long. We'll put him on it, of course, but realistically, it's not an option. He was telling me this man was going to die. He was giving up on him before he even had a chance to fight. I thought of the man's green eyes, the flicker of life I'd seen in them. "I want to see him," I said. He was in a small, plain room at the end of a long hallway. Wires and tubes connected him to a symphony of beeping machines. His eyes were closed, his face still so pale against the white pillowcase. I sat in the chair beside his bed, the silence heavy and suffocating. I opened the small book I'd picked up from the street. The pages were thin as onion skin, filled with handwritten words in a language I didn't recognize. On the inside cover, there was a faint symbol pressed into the leather, a complex, looping knot that formed a kind of shield. It looked ancient, important. I traced it with my finger, wondering about the story it held. A few hours later, he stirred. His eyes blinked open, slowly adjusting to the dim light. They found me, and for the first time, they were clear. "You're still here," he rasped. His voice was rough, but gentle. I managed a small smile.
"I'm Kelly."
"Kalen," he said. "Just Kalen. No last name. Why did you stay?" It was a simple question, but the answer felt big and complicated. Because no one should be alone when they're scared. Tears welled in his eyes, and he looked away, ashamed. "They told me about my condition." "We'll figure it out," I said, with more confidence than I felt. He shook his head, a single tear tracing a path down his temple. "There's nothing to figure out. It's over." His hopelessness was a physical thing, a cold weight in the room. He told me he had no family, no one. He'd been on his own for years, moving from place to place, trying to outrun the sickness he knew was catching up to him. He was a ghost, a man who had already accepted his own end. But I refused to. Looking at him, I didn't see a lost cause. I saw a life that deserved to be lived. I saw a quiet strength beneath the exhaustion. "What if you had a donor?" I asked, the words tumbling out of my mouth before I could stop them. "A living donor. That's faster, right?" Kalen's eyes widened slightly. "You can't just find a living donor. They have to be a match. It's like winning the lottery 1,000,000 times." "Then maybe it's time to buy a ticket," I said. The next morning, I found his doctor. I told him I wanted to be tested to see if I was a match for Kalen. The doctor looked at me like I had lost my mind. "Miss White," he said patiently, as if explaining something to a child. "The odds of a non-relative being a compatible donor are astronomical. It's practically zero." "Practically zero isn't zero," I insisted. "Please, just run the test." When I told Sarah what I was doing, she drove straight to the hospital. She found me in the cafeteria, and her voice was a low, furious hiss. "Are you out of your mind? You're going to give a piece of your body to a man you met yesterday? A homeless man whose last name you don't even know?" "His name is Kalen," I said calmly, stirring my coffee. "And he's not a homeless man. He's a person, and he's dying. People die every day, Kelly. You can't sacrifice yourself for all of them. What about your life? Your health? This is a major surgery. You are throwing your future away for a complete stranger." "It's my future," I said, meeting her angry, loving eyes. "It's my body, and it's my choice." She threw her hands up in defeat, tears of frustration glistening in her eyes. "I don't understand you. You don't have to," I said softly. "You just have to be my friend." The test took days. Days of waiting, of watching Kalen get weaker, his skin becoming almost translucent. We talked for hours. He told me about the stars, about books he'd read, about dreams he had of seeing the ocean. He never talked about his past or his family, and I never asked. It didn't seem to matter. What mattered was the person he was right now, in this sterile room. He was kind and smart and had a soul that felt ancient and gentle. The thought of it all just ending was unbearable. Then the call came. It was the doctor. His voice was different this time, stripped of its professional distance. There was a note of pure disbelief in it. "Miss White," he said, his voice strained. "I don't know how to explain this. I've never seen anything like it in my 30-year career." My breath caught in my throat. "What is it?" "You're a match," he said. "Not just a match. You're a perfect match. On every possible marker. It's a 1 in a million chance. Statistically, it's impossible." I hung up the phone, my legs feeling weak.
Impossible.
A 1 in a million chance. A wave of dizziness washed over me, followed by a profound sense of purpose. It was meant to be. I practically ran to Kalen's room, my heart soaring. I had to tell him. I was going to save his life. But when I pushed open the door, my joyful words died on my lips. Kalen wasn't alone. Standing by his bed was a woman. She was tall and imposing, dressed in a dark, perfectly tailored suit that looked more expensive than my car. Her hair was pulled back in a severe bun, and her expression was like stone. She was not a doctor. She was not a social worker. She radiated an aura of untouchable power. She turned her head as I entered, and her cold, dark eyes swept over me, dismissing me in a single glance. "Thank you for your assistance," she said, her voice clipped and sharp, with an accent I couldn't place. "It will no longer be required." She held out an envelope. It was thick with cash. "This should be sufficient compensation for your time and trouble." I stared at the money, then at her, then at Kalen. He was sitting up in bed, his face pale with panic. He looked from the woman to me, his eyes wide with a silent, desperate plea. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper.
The woman ignored me.
"Mr. Rourke will be transferred to a private facility immediately," she said, her tone leaving no room for argument. "Mr. Rourke." The name echoed in the small room. The way she said it, formal, respectful, heavy with importance. It was not the name of a nobody. It was the name of someone who mattered. And in that one shattering moment, I realized I didn't know the man in the bed at all. I pushed the envelope back towards her, my hand trembling slightly. "I don't want your money." My voice came out stronger than I expected. The woman raised a perfectly shaped eyebrow, a flicker of surprise in her cold eyes. "I see. A rescuer. How quaint." She didn't look at me as she spoke, but at Kalen, and her words were like ice. "We have everything under control now. Your part in this is over." "No," Kalen whispered from the bed. His voice was weak, but it cut through the tension in the room. "Kelly, don't go." He looked at me, and his green eyes were pleading. All the confusion, all the fear I felt, was reflected there. He was just as lost as I was. But beneath that, there was something else, a deep, soul-crushing shame. He was ashamed of this woman, this suit, this hidden life that had just crashed into our quiet hospital room. "I'm the donor," I said, my gaze locked on the woman. "I'm a perfect match. The doctor called me this morning. I'm giving him my kidney." For the first time, the woman's stony expression cracked. She looked genuinely shocked, her mouth parting slightly. She stared at me, then at Kalen, then back at me. "That's not possible," she said, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "The doctor said it was a 1 in a million chance," I replied, feeling a small, strange surge of victory. "Looks like we hit the lottery." She recovered quickly, her mask of control sliding back into place. She turned to Kalen. "We had a donor arranged. Flown in from Switzerland. Everything was handled." "I don't want their donor," Kalen said, his voice gaining a bit of strength. "I want Kelly." The woman looked at me as if I were a cockroach she'd found in her soup. "This is a family matter.
You are an outsider. You will leave now."
She stepped towards me, her presence filling the small room, making it hard to breathe. "She stays," Kalen said, his voice ringing with a sudden authority that made us both stop. He pushed himself up higher on the pillows, his jaw set. "She stays, or I walk out of here right now. I'll sign whatever forms I have to. You can't make me do anything." The woman's eyes narrowed into slits. A silent war was being fought over my head. I could feel the history between them, years of it, thick and suffocating. Finally, with a stiff, angry nod. She turned and walked out of the room, her heels clicking sharply on the tiled floor. The door closed behind her, leaving a ringing silence. I sank into the chair by his bed, my legs giving out. "Kalen, what is going on?" "Who was that?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. He stared at his hands, which were clenched on top of the thin hospital blanket. "Her name is Anya. She works for my family." "Your family?" I asked, my voice soft. "You told me you didn't have any family." "I don't," he said, and the pain in his voice was so real, so sharp, it felt like a physical blow. "Not in any way that matters. I ran away from them a long time ago, Kelly. From that life. From her." He finally looked at me, his eyes swimming with unshed tears. "They aren't good people. The money, it poisons everything." So there was money. I had guessed as much. But the way he said it, it sounded like a curse. "I didn't lie to you," he rushed to say, seeing the doubt on my face. "Everything I told you is true. I have been on my own. I have been sick. That life, the one she represents, I want no part of it. But they have ways of finding me, especially when I end up in a hospital." He reached out and took my hand. His skin was cool, but his grip was surprisingly firm. "Please, Kelly.
Please don't back out.
I know it's crazy. But you being a match, it feels like a sign. Like a chance for me to really be free. If they provide the donor, they own me forever. I'll be right back in that cage. Your gift, it would be mine. Truly mine. No strings attached." My mind was spinning. Sarah's warnings, the doctor's disbelief, Anya's cold fury. It was a mess. I was in over my head with a boy who had a secret life that came with bodyguards and expensive suits. Every logical part of my brain was screaming at me to run. But then I looked at his face. I saw the boy on the sidewalk, his breath a fragile puff of air. I saw the loneliness in his eyes that matched my own. And I felt his hand holding mine, a desperate anchor in a stormy sea. He wasn't Mr. Rourke. He was Kalen. My Kalen. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. And I meant it. The transfer happened that afternoon. A private ambulance, sleek and black, took us from the noise and chaos of St. Jude's to a place that felt like another planet. The new hospital was called the Wellington Clinic. It was on a quiet, tree-lined street and looked more like a luxury hotel than a medical facility. There was no waiting room, no smell of bleach. Just quiet hallways, soft lighting, and art on the walls. Anya was there, of course. She never spoke to me directly, but I could always feel her eyes on me, watching, judging. They gave me a private room that was bigger than my entire apartment. It had a view of a beautiful, manicured garden. It was all meant to impress me, I knew. Or maybe to make me feel small and out of place. It worked. The surgery was scheduled for the morning. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the choice I was making, about the piece of me I was about to give away forever. A nurse told me Kalen was asking for me. His room was just down the hall. He was sitting up, reading the old leather book I'd found. He smiled when he saw me, a real, warm smile that lit up his whole face. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asked. I shook my head, sitting in the chair beside his bed. My brain won't shut up. "I'm sorry, Kelly," he said, his voice low and serious. "I'm so sorry for dragging you into all of this. Into my family's drama." "It's okay," I said. "Just tell me one thing. That book, what is it?" He held it out to me. It was my grandfather's. He was the only one who was like me. He loved books and stories, not business. He opened it and I saw the strange, elegant script again. It's poetry. In Irish. He taught me to read it when I was a little boy. It's the only piece of him I have left. The only part of that world that ever felt real. He told me about growing up in a huge, empty house where affection was a transaction and every conversation was a negotiation. He was a boy who loved poetry in a family that only understood profit. He wasn't running from wealth. He was running from a profound and crushing loneliness. He was running from the same thing I was. "After tomorrow," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "we'll be connected. Not by money, not by family, but by this.
A part of you will be a part of me.
You're giving me more than a kidney, Kelly. You're giving me a future that they can't touch. Tears pricked my eyes. Just promise me you'll use it, I whispered. Promise me you'll go see the ocean. I promise, he said, his green eyes shining with sincerity. We'll go together. In that moment, all my doubts melted away. I felt a sense of peace, of rightness, that I hadn't felt since before my father died. This was my purpose. I wasn't just fixing a small piece of the world. I was helping a beautiful soul rewrite his entire story. The next morning, they wheeled me into the operating room. The last thing I saw before the anesthesia took hold was Kalen being wheeled in beside me. He turned his head and gave me a small, shaky smile. I smiled back, and then the world went dark. I woke up slowly, floating in a fog. There was a dull, deep ache in my side. A nurse was checking my four. Sarah was asleep in a chair in the corner of my room. The sun was streaming through the window. It was over. I had done it. How is he? I rasped, my throat dry. The nurse smiled kindly. The surgery was a complete success. Both patient and donor are recovering well. Mr. Rourke is in the post-op wing. He'll need to be kept in isolation for a few days to prevent infection. It made sense. I felt a wave of relief, so powerful it made me dizzy. We did it. The next few days were a blur of pain medication, short walks down the hall, and Sarah's worried hovering. She had come around, in her own way. She still thought I was crazy, but she was there bringing me magazines and making sure I ate. Every time I asked about Kalen, I got the same answer. He's recovering well. He needs his rest. I was told he couldn't have visitors yet. I understood, but a knot of unease was starting to form in my stomach. He could at least send a note, couldn't he? Or have a nurse pass along a message. On the fourth day, I couldn't stand it anymore. The pain in my side was a constant reminder of him, of our connection. I needed to see him. I got out of bed, ignoring Sarah's protests, and put on the hospital robe. Kelly, you're not supposed to be walking this much, she said, following me out the door. I'm just going to his wing, I said. I just want to see him. Just for a minute. The post-op wing was on another floor. It was even quieter than the rest of the hospital. The air was cold and sterile. I found the nurse's station, my heart starting to pound. I'm here to see Kalen Rourke, I said to the nurse at the desk. She looked at me, then typed something into her computer. Her brow furrowed. Mr. Rourke isn't on this floor. What? I asked, confused. They told me he was here.
In post-operative.
He was, she said, still looking at her screen. But he was discharged. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. Discharged?
When?
He just had a transplant. He can't be discharged. This morning, the nurse said, her voice matter-of-fact. His family had him airlifted for continued private care in Europe. Airlifted. Europe. The words didn't make sense. They were from a movie, not my life.
No, y whisperat.
There's a mistake. He wouldn't leave without saying goodbye. As if on cue, a familiar voice cut through my haze. There is no mistake. Anya was standing at the end of the hallway. She walked towards me, her face as impassive as ever. She wasn't wearing the dark suit, but what she had on still looked severe and expensive. Mr. Rourke's recovery is our top priority, she said, her voice flat. He is on his way to the best facility in the world. I stared at her, my mind reeling, trying to process the betrayal. He was gone. He had let them take him away. He had broken his promise. Our promise. He left me a message? I asked, my voice cracking. It was the last shred of hope I had. Anya's expression was one of pity, which was somehow worse than her anger. Mr. Rourke is a very important young man with immense responsibilities. He doesn't have time for distractions. She held out a familiar-looking envelope. It was just like the first one. Thick. Impersonal. His family is, of course, extremely grateful for your service, she said, pushing the envelope into my hand. This is a token of their appreciation. It should ensure you are comfortable for the rest of your life. I looked down at the envelope in my hand, then back up at her empty face. The pain in my side flared, a sharp, tearing agony. It wasn't from the incision. It was from the space where my trust used to be, the space where my kidney used to be. He was gone. He had used me, taken a piece of my body, and vanished, leaving nothing behind but a bundle of cash, as if I were just another one of his family's transactions. I looked from the thick envelope to Anya's cold face, and a laugh bubbled up in my throat. It was a raw, ugly sound, half sob and half fury. The pain in my side screamed, a hot, pulling sensation, but it was nothing compared to the gaping hole Kaylin had left behind. "You think you can buy a piece of my body?" I asked, my voice shaking with a rage I had never felt before. I held the envelope out, pinching it between two fingers like it was something filthy. "You think this makes it okay? That you can take what you want and just leave a tip?" Sarah rushed to my side, her hand on my arm. "Kelly, don't," she whispered, her eyes wide with fear. She was looking at Anya, who stood perfectly still, her expression unreadable. But I couldn't stop. It was too late. "He made me a promise," I said, my voice rising, echoing in the sterile hallway. "He promised we would see the ocean together." Was that a transaction, too? Was he paying for my hope? Anya's lips thinned into a hard line. "His promises are not my concern. My concern is the continuation of the Rourke family line and the stability of its $90 billion enterprise. An enterprise that a naive girl from a diner has no place in." "I don't want his money," I shouted, and with a sudden surge of strength, I ripped the envelope in half. The neat stacks of $100 bills burst from the paper, fluttering to the floor like dead leaves. They scattered around Anya's expensive shoes. She didn't even flinch. She just looked down at the money, then back up at me, a flicker of something that might have been respect, or maybe just annoyance in her eyes. "A grand gesture," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "How very dramatic. But it changes nothing. Kaylin is gone. You will not see him again. And I suggest you think very carefully about your next move." She took a step closer, her voice dropping so low that only I could hear it. "You have a friend, Miss White. A life. A future. These are fragile things. It would be a shame to see them broken because of a foolish attachment to a boy you barely know." A cold dread washed over me, colder than the hospital air. It was a threat, a clear and simple threat against Sarah. She knew Sarah's name.
Of course she did.
She had probably known everything about me from the moment I brought Kaylin to the hospital. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about a broken heart anymore. "Stay away from her," I snarled, stepping in front of Sarah. Anya gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. "That is entirely up to you." She turned, her back straight and rigid, and walked away without another word, leaving the money scattered across the polished floor. My legs finally gave out. Sarah caught me, her arm a strong, steady support around my waist. "Come on," she murmured, her own voice trembling. "Let's get you back to bed. It's over, Kelly. Just let it be over." She helped me limp back to my room. The bright, sunny view of the garden now felt like a mockery. I sank onto the edge of the bed, the pain in my side a dull, constant throb. But the ache in my chest was worse. Sarah started picking up my clothes, tidying the room, trying to create order out of the chaos. She was trying to be strong for me. "She was right, you know," I whispered, staring at the floor. "I was a fool. I built this whole story in my head. The lonely boy, the girl who saves him, it was all a fantasy. He was never a nobody on the street. He was just a rich kid playing a part, and I was the idiot who fell for it." Sarah stopped what she was doing and came to sit beside me on the bed. She took my hand. "You're not an idiot, Kelly. You have a bigger heart than anyone I know. You saw someone in pain, and you helped them. That's not foolish. That's who you are." "And look where it got me," I said, tears finally starting to fall, hot and fast. "I have a hole in my side, and a psycho in a suit threatening my best friend. And for what? For a boy who used me and threw me away like trash." I buried my face in my hands, the sobs shaking my whole body. It was too much. The surgery, the hope, the betrayal. It felt like I was breaking apart from the inside out. We sat there for a long time, The only sound in the room, my own choked breathing. Sarah just held my hand, a silent, solid presence in the wreckage of my world. Eventually, a soft knock came at the door. "Go away," I mumbled, not looking up. The door creaked open anyway. "Miss White," a young man's voice said, hesitant and soft. I looked up, wiping my eyes. It was a young orderly I'd seen a few times, a boy with kind eyes and a nervous energy. He was holding a small brown paper bag. "I was told to clear out Mr. Rourke's room," he said, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. "They took everything, but they missed this. It was under the mattress. I saw him with it. Figured it might be important." He held out the bag. My breath caught in my throat. I reached for it, my hands shaking. Inside, nestled in the crumpled paper, was the little leather book. Kalen's grandfather's book of poetry. My heart started pounding. He wouldn't have left this. Not willingly. It was the only thing he said was real. The only piece of that world he cherished. He wouldn't have left it behind. "Did you see him?" I asked, my voice urgent. "When they took him, did you see him?" The orderly glanced nervously down the hall, then stepped fully into the room, letting the door click softly shut behind him. "I wasn't supposed to see anything," he said, his voice low. "Anya, that woman, she cleared the floor. But the service elevator was broken. They had to bring him my way." "What did you see?" Sarah asked, leaning forward. "He wasn't walking," the orderly said, his eyes fixed on me. "He was in a transport chair, and he was fighting them. Not physically, he was too weak for that. But he was arguing with her. He kept saying your name."
He was shouting it.
"Tell Kelly," he kept saying. "Tell her it's not my choice. Tell her I'll come back for her." Anya told the other men to sedate him. They gave him a shot and he just went limp. They wheeled him out after that. The world tilted and then snapped back into focus, sharp and clear. Every piece of the story rearranged itself in my mind. He didn't leave me. He was taken. He didn't betray me. He was fighting for me. The despair that had been crushing me evaporated, replaced by a white-hot flame of determination. "Thank you," I said to the orderly, my voice clear and steady. "Thank you so much. What's your name?"
"Finn," he said.
"Finn," I repeated. "You have no idea what you've just done." He gave me a small, sad smile. "I know what they're like. The Rourkes. Might have used to work security for them back in Ireland. They own people. I'm glad the lad found someone they don't own." He nodded at me and slipped out of the room as quietly as he had entered. I opened the book, my fingers tracing the familiar knot on the cover. He was fighting for me. He wanted me to know. And Anya had tried to hide it, tried to make me believe he was just another selfish rich boy. She wanted me to give up, to be broken and defeated. She wanted me to take the money and disappear. But she had miscalculated.
She didn't know me.
"Sarah," I said, turning to my friend. My eyes were dry now. The time for tears was over. "I need my phone." "What are you going to do?" she asked, her expression a mixture of awe and terror. "She threatened you," I said simply. "She thinks she can scare me into a corner. She thinks I'm a distraction that can be managed. I'm going to show her what a distraction can really do." I took the book and carefully opened it to the inside cover. I remembered Kalen tracing the lines of the handwritten poetry, his voice soft as he told me about his grandfather. I couldn't read the language, but beneath the swirling Irish script, there was a small notation I hadn't paid attention to before. It was in English, written in pencil in a different, shakier hand. It looked like an address, or maybe a code. A series of numbers and a single word, Claddagh. "What is that?" Sarah asked, peering over my shoulder. "I don't know," I said, my mind racing. But it was his grandfather's. The one person he trusted. It has to be a clue. A message he knew only he would understand. A message he might have left for himself, a secret escape route. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. My blood went cold, thinking it was Anya. But the message wasn't a threat. Claddagh isn't a place. It's a person. An old jeweler on the west side. He was loyal to the old man. "Be careful," Asterisk. It was from Finn. He was risking his job, maybe more, to help me. An alliance. A fragile, secret thread of hope. I looked at Sarah. Her face was pale, but her eyes were resolute. She had seen my despair, and now she saw my purpose. She saw the truth. "This is insane, you know that, right?" she said, but there was no heat in her voice. Completely, I agreed. We're talking about one of the most powerful families in the world. They have armies of lawyers and security guards like Anya. I know. She took a deep breath. "So, what's the plan?" she asked. The word "we" hung in the air between us, a promise stronger than any hospital wall. "First," I said, a slow smile spreading across my face, "we get me out of this hospital. Then, we go find a jeweler." Anya thought the story was over. She thought she could write the ending, pay me off, and close the book on the girl who gave away her kidney. But she was wrong. She hadn't ended the story. She had just given me a reason to fight. And I wouldn't be fighting for a boy who broke my heart. I would be fighting for the boy who was taken from me. The fight wasn't over. It had just begun. Getting out of that hospital was like breaking out of a prison. Every step sent a sharp, pulling pain through my side, a constant, fiery reminder of the piece of me that was missing. Sarah found my clothes, a simple pair of jeans and a sweatshirt, and helped me change. Pulling the jeans over my hips felt like being stabbed with 1,000 tiny needles. I had to bite my lip to keep from crying out, leaning heavily on the bed. "We can wait, Kelly," Sarah whispered, her face tight with worry. "You just had major surgery. This is crazy." "No," I said, gritting my teeth as I finally got the jeans buttoned. My hands were shaking. The longer we wait, the further away he gets. The more time Anya has to bury him under their money and their rules. "We have to go now." We didn't use the main elevator. Sarah remembered a service stairwell near the cafeteria from her visits. The concrete steps were steep and smelled like disinfectant. Each step down was a fresh wave of pain. I held onto the cold metal railing, my knuckles white, focusing on Kalen's face in my mind. On his voice, shouting my name. That was my fuel. That was the only thing stronger than the pain. We slipped out a side door into an alleyway. The city air, usually a comfort, felt heavy and threatening. Every passing car made my heart jump into my throat. I half expected Anya to step out from behind a dumpster, her cold eyes freezing me to the spot. "My car's 2 blocks away," Sarah said, her arm wrapped around my waist, supporting most of my weight. "Lean on me. We'll make it." As we walked, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. A dark town car with tinted windows was parked down the street. It seemed out of place in this part of town. When we turned a corner, I glanced back. The car pulled out from the curb, slowly following. "Sarah," I said, my voice low. "Don't look now, but I think we have a tail." Her grip on me tightened. "Are you sure?" Black car. Tinted windows. It's been behind us since we left the alley. Her face went pale. Anya's threat echoed in my mind. Asterisk, these are fragile things. It would be a shame to see them broken. Asterisk, she wasn't just talking about me. She was talking about Sarah. Panic, cold and sharp, clawed at my throat. I was putting my best friend in the crosshairs of these dangerous people. "Get in front of me," I said, trying to shield her with my body, which was a ridiculous thought. I could barely stand. "Don't be stupid," she snapped, her fear making her angry. "Just walk faster." We practically fell into her beat-up little car. She fumbled with the keys, her hands trembling, before jamming the key into the ignition. The engine sputtered to life. She pulled out into traffic, her eyes glued to the rear-view mirror. The black car stayed behind us, keeping a steady distance. It wasn't trying to catch us. It was just there, a constant, menacing reminder that we were not alone, that we could not escape. The west side was a maze of old brick buildings and narrow streets. The jeweler's shop was sandwiched between a laundromat and a boarded-up butcher. The sign above the door was so faded you could barely read the name, Kladoff Fine Jewelry and Repair. The windows were grimy, displaying a few tarnished silver rings on faded velvet. It looked like a place the world had forgotten. "This is it," I said, my breath fogging up the car window. Sarah parked a block away. "What do we do about them?" she whispered, nodding towards the rearview mirror. The black car had pulled over to the curb behind us, waiting. "We go in," I said. "There's nothing else we can do. They want to scare us. Let's show them we're not scared." It was a lie. I was terrified, but it was a lie I had to believe. The shop smelled of dust and metal polish and old wood. A tiny bell jingled as we opened the door. The inside was cramped and dark, every surface cluttered with clocks that had stopped ticking and jewelry boxes filled with tangled chains. Behind a worn wooden counter, a very old man with skin like wrinkled paper and eyes magnified by thick glasses looked up from a watch he was working on. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice a dry rustle. "Are you Mr. Clatta?" I asked, leaning against the counter to steady myself. The pain in my side was a dull, pulsing fire now. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Who's asking?" I didn't say anything. I just placed the small leather book on the counter between us. His gaze fell on it, and his whole body went still. His liver-spotted hands hovered over the book for a moment before he reached out and touched the Celtic knot on the cover. His touch was reverent, full of a sadness so deep it seemed to fill the tiny shop. "Declan," he whispered, the name a puff of air. "I haven't seen this in 30 years. He looked up at me, his magnified eyes searching my face. "He gave this to his grandson." "To Kalen? Where is the boy?" "He's in trouble," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "His family has him. A woman named Anya." The jeweler's face hardened at the name. He spat on the floor behind him. "That viper. She works for the brother. The soulless one. Always hated Declan. Hated his kindness. Saw it as a weakness." He looked from me to Sarah, then back to the door, a new fear in his eyes. "You shouldn't have come here. They watch me. They have for years." "We know," Sarah said, her voice tight. "They followed us." Mr. Clatta seemed to shrink. He took off his glasses and rubbed his tired eyes. Declan knew this would happen. He knew they wouldn't let the boy go. Kalen is too much like him. He has a heart. The Rourkes, they cut those out. He picked up the book and opened it to the inside cover, his finger tracing the numbers and the word I had found. Declan was a clever man. This isn't just a book of poetry. It's an escape plan. "The numbers," I prompted gently. "What are they?" "An account," he said, "at a private vault in the city. Declan set it up decades ago, under a false name. He filled it with enough untraceable bonds and cash for the boy to disappear forever, to start a new life, free of them." A surge of hope shot through me. A way out. Kalen's grandfather had given him a path to freedom. "So, we just go to the vault?" The old man shook his head slowly. "It's not so simple. The vault requires 2 keys to open. One is the account number you have. The other," he paused, tapping a long, bony finger on the page of swirling Irish script. "The other is hidden in the poem on this page. It is a code. Declan and I created it together. Only someone who knows the poem by heart can decipher it." My hope faltered. "Kalen knows it," I said, remembering him reading it in the hospital. "But we can't get to him." Mr. Clatta looked at me, a thoughtful expression on his face. "But Declan gave the book to the boy for a reason. He trusted him. And if the boy trusted you enough to let you hold his most precious possession," he ran his finger down the page, his lips moving silently, as if reading the old words. His eyes suddenly lit up with a spark of memory. "Ah, Declan, you clever devil." He turned the book sideways and pointed to the edge of the page. In the margin, nearly invisible against the yellowed paper, were a series of tiny, pinprick-like marks. They were arranged in a pattern. "It's not just the words," he whispered, a triumphant smile on his face. "It's the marks. It's a failsafe. A key for someone who doesn't speak the language, but has a good heart and a sharp eye. It's a map." He grabbed a pencil and a scrap of paper and began to scribble, his old hand moving with surprising speed. "The marks correspond to letters. The letters spell a name. The name of the man who manages the vault. He was loyal to Declan. He will help you. He finished writing and pushed the paper across the counter to me. It felt like he was handing me the entire world. A name and an address. A solid lead. A real chance. For a moment, I forgot the pain in my side, the car outside, the threat of Anya. We had a plan. A real plan. Thank you. I breathed, folding the paper carefully and putting it in my pocket. Thank you, Mr. Claddagh. Don't thank me, he said, his face grim again. Just get the boy out. Declan died trying to get away from his brother's poison. Don't let his grandsons suffer the same fate. He looked past us, through the grimy window to the street outside. Now go. And be careful. The Rourkes don't just own people. They erase them. The warning sent a chill down my spine. We left the shop, the little bell jingling our departure. The street seemed darker than before. The black car was still there, an unblinking eye in the fading light. As we walked toward Sarah's car, my heart hammered in my chest. We had the key. We had a chance to set Kaelin free. It felt like a victory. A small, fragile victory, but a victory nonetheless. We got in the car, and Sarah immediately started the engine. She was about to pull away when my phone buzzed in my pocket. At the same time, her phone, sitting on the dashboard, lit up with a call from her mom. She answered, a smile on her face. Hey, Mom, what's up? I looked down at my phone. It was a picture message from an unknown number. My fingers felt clumsy as I opened it. The image was grainy, taken from a distance. It was a picture of the front of Sarah's mom's bakery. The cheerful pink and white awning was slashed to ribbons. The big front window was shattered, a spiderweb of broken glass. Red spray paint covered the brick facade, spelling out a single, ugly word, liar. A wave of nausea washed over me. I looked up at Sarah. The smile had vanished from her face. She was pale, her knuckles white as she gripped her phone.
What?
Mom, slow down. I can't understand you, she was saying, her voice high with panic. What do you mean, a warning? Who would do that? She listened, and a single tear rolled down her cheek. She looked at me, her eyes wide with a terrifying, dawning understanding. Anya hadn't just threatened us. She had done it. She had reached into our lives and shattered the one place Sarah's family had built with their own hands, their own sweat and love. The message was brutally clear. Asterisk, I can touch you. I can touch anyone you love. Asterisk. The piece of paper in my pocket suddenly felt like it was burning a hole through my jeans. The name, the address, it wasn't a key to Kaelin's freedom. It was a trigger. We had pushed back, and Anya had retaliated, not against me, but against the most vulnerable, most innocent person in my life. The victory I had felt just moments before curdled into ash in my mouth. I looked at the broken bakery on my phone screen, then at my best friend's broken expression. The fight wasn't for a stranger anymore. It was for my family, and I had just led the enemy right to our door. No, Sarah sobbed, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold the steering wheel.
No, no, no.
She stared at the picture on my phone, then at her own, where her mother's frantic texts were still coming through. The bakery wasn't just a building, it was her family's dream, built from nothing, covered in flour and sugar and 16-hour days. And Anya had broken it with a phone call. Sarah, drive, I said, my voice dangerously calm. All the pain in my side had sharpened into a single, focused point of anger. Get us out of here. We're going to the address Mr. Claddagh gave me. Are you insane? She screamed, turning on me, her face streaked with tears and fury. Did you not just see that? They know where my mom lives. They know where I live.
This isn't a game, Kelly.
These people are monsters. We went to the jeweler, and an hour later, my family shop is destroyed. What happens when we go to this vault manager? What do they do then? Burn down our apartment building. That's why we can't stop, I insisted, grabbing her arm. Don't you see? This is what they want. They're trying to scare us off. If we back down now, they win. They keep Kaelin, and they know they can control us forever. I don't care about Kaelin, she yelled, pulling her arm away as if my touch had burned her. I care about my mom. I care about you not getting killed. It's over. Give them the stupid book. Tell them you'll stay away. Please, Kelly. I'm begging you. Let's just go home. The betrayal in her words stung more than the threat from Anya. I don't care about Kaylin. How could she say that? After everything?
My phone buzzed again.
Another unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me look. It was another text from Finn, the orderly. Asterisk burner phone. K has 60 seconds. Now. Asterisk below, it was a phone number. My heart leaped into my throat. Without thinking, I dialed. Sarah watched me, her eyes wide with disbelief. It rang once, twice, and then a faint, crackling voice came through. Kelly? It was him. It was Kaylin. Hearing his voice was like a drink of water after days in the desert. Kaylin, are you okay? Where are you? No time, he said, his voice weak and rushed. They have me on a plane. I don't know where we're going. Did you get the book? Yes, I whispered, tears filling my eyes. I have it. Mr. Cladaw, he's helping us. He told us about the vault. A sound of pure relief came through the phone.
Good. Good.
He's the only one we can trust. There was a muffled shout in the background. Anya's voice, sharp and angry. Kaylin's breathing quickened. Listen to me, Kelly. Whatever she tells you, whatever she does, don't believe her. It's all lies to break you, to break us. She's trying, I said, my voice cracking. She's hurting people. I know. I'm so sorry. She's a monster, but she's a coward. She attacks what you love because she can't touch you. You're stronger than she is. His voice grew thick with emotion. What you did for me, no one has ever done anything like that for me. You're the only real thing that's ever happened in my entire life. That kidney, it's not just a part of you inside me, it's a promise. Do you understand? It was always meant to be you. I understand. I sobbed, clutching the phone to my ear. Sarah was staring at me, her face a mask of horror. I will come back for you, Kaylin said, his voice desperate and fading as the shouting in the background grew louder. I swear it.
Don't give up on me.
Don't let her win. I love why. The line went dead. The silence in the car was deafening. I stared at the phone, his last words hanging in the air. I love you, he had said it. He loved me. It was real. All of it. The connection I felt, the impossible odds, the feeling that we were two halves of the same lonely soul. It was all real. A new fire burned through me, cauterizing all my fear. I turned to Sarah, my face set like stone. We're going.
Now.
No, Sarah said, her voice flat and dead. We're not. Sarah, you heard him. He's fighting for us. We have to fight for him. There is no us, she cried, hitting the steering wheel with the heel of her hand. There is you, and there is him, and there is this fantasy world you've built where you think you can win against a $90 billion empire. I am trying to save your life. By abandoning him? By being a coward? By not being a fool, she shot back. And then her face crumpled, all the anger draining out of her, leaving only a hollow, gut-wrenching despair. I can't do it, Kelly. I can't let you do it. They'll kill you. And I can't live with that. I stared at her, confused by the finality in her tone. It was more than fear. It was something else. Something broken. What did you do, Sarah? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. A cold dread, worse than anything I'd felt before, started to creep up my spine.
She wouldn't look at me.
She just stared out the windshield, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. Anya came to see me at the hospital, after your surgery. The world seemed to slow down, the sounds of the street outside fading to a dull hum.
What?
She showed me things, Sarah continued, her voice trembling. Pictures, reports, of people who had crossed their family, people who just disappeared, journalists, business rivals, a politician. They were just gone, wiped from the earth. She told me that's what would happen to you. My blood ran cold. So you're just giving up? No. she whispered, and the word was so full of pain it felt like a knife in my own heart. She finally turned to look at me, her eyes pleading for me to understand. I made a deal with her. I couldn't breathe. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the car. A deal. The words didn't make sense. What are you talking about? She said she would let you live. She would even set you up with enough money that you'd never have to worry again. You just had to walk away. You had to believe Kaylin didn't want you. She needed you to feel betrayed, so you would leave him alone for good. Every piece of the puzzle clicked into place with sickening clarity. Anya's performance in the hospital, the envelope of cash, her cold, dismissive words.
It was all a show.
A show that Sarah had helped her direct. The bakery, I whispered, the horror of it dawning on me. She didn't do that to threaten me. She did it to convince you. Sarah nodded, a fresh wave of sobs shaking her body. It was part of the deal. To show me how real the threat was. To make me so scared for my family that I would do anything she said. And I did. I was supposed to take you home. I was supposed to tell you it was hopeless. I was supposed to let you believe he used you. The floor of my world fell away. My best friend. My sister. The one person I thought I could count on for anything. She had stood by and let me believe the most painful lie of my life. She had watched me break, knowing the truth the entire time. How could you? I choked out, the words tearing at my throat. To save you, she cried, grabbing my hands. I snatched them away. I did it to save your life, Kelly. What was I supposed to do? Let them kill you. You were supposed to trust me. You were supposed to be on my side. I am on your side. That's why I did it. And then she delivered the final blow. The one that would shatter everything I thought I knew, not just about the last few weeks, but about my entire life. It's not just about Kaylin, she said, her voice dropping to a raw, urgent whisper. There's more. Anya told me why you're such a threat to them. Why you can't just be a girl he met. It's about your dad. What about my dad? I snapped, the name like acid on my tongue. Don't you dare talk about him. He wasn't a nobody, Kelly, Sarah said, her eyes boring into mine. His name wasn't White.
He changed it when he ran away.
From them. From his family. I stared at her blankly, my mind refusing to accept the words. Your father, she said, each word a hammer blow, was Michael Rourke.
De clan est une geste sang.
Kaylin's uncle. The car, the street, the whole world dissolved into a meaningless blur. It wasn't possible. My father was a cook. He worked long hours and smelled like garlic and old grease. He read me stories and died of a sickness the doctors couldn't explain. He couldn't be one of them. You're lying, I said, but the words had no force. The truth was there, screaming at me from all the dark corners of my memory. The genetic condition. The 1 in a million perfect match. Kaylin's words echoing in my head. It was always meant to be you. It wasn't a lover's miracle. It was blood. We were family. He was my cousin. The love I felt for him, the pure, shining thing that had given me so much strength, curdled in my stomach. The intimacy of his call, his whispered, I love you, was suddenly twisted into something confusing and wrong. My entire story, my noble sacrifice for a stranger, was a lie. I hadn't saved a stranger. I had just given a kidney to a cousin I never knew I had, a boy from the very family my father had run away from, the family whose poison had likely killed him. I was a Rourke. The thought was so vile, so alien, it made me sick. I opened the car door, stumbling out onto the sidewalk. The pain in my side was a white-hot agony, but it was nothing compared to the desolation that ripped through my soul. Kelly, wait. Sarah called, getting out of the car. Where are you going? Please, just listen to me. We can still walk away from this. I did it for you. I did it because I love you. I turned to look at her, my friend, the girl who held my hand when my father died, the girl who knew all my secrets. Except she hadn't. I had been a secret from myself my whole life. And she had conspired with my enemies to keep it that way. No, I said, and my voice was a stranger's, cold and empty. You did it because you were scared, and you made my life a part of your fear. I turned my back on her. I left her standing by the car, her pleas and sobs following me down the dark street. I didn't know where I was going. I had the slip of paper in my pocket, the key to a vault, to a fortune, to a life that was built on a foundation of lies. I had a hole in my side where my kidney used to be, a hole in my heart where my best friend used to be, and a hole in my past where my father used to be. Anya hadn't just taken Kaylin. She had taken everything. And Sarah had helped her. I was alone. Truly, utterly alone, with a name I didn't want and a truth that was too heavy to carry. The fight wasn't just beginning. The fight was lost. I walked. I didn't know where. Each step was a fresh agony. The stitches in my side pulling tight, a fire spreading across my stomach. The physical pain was a strange kind of gift. It was real. It was something I could focus on besides the echo of Sarah's voice, turning my whole life into a lie. Asterisk, your father was Michael Rourke, Kaylin's uncle, asterisk. The words circled in my head, vultures picking apart every memory I had. My father, flipping pancakes on a Sunday morning, his tired smile, his hands, calloused from the diner, holding a book, the smell of his cheap cologne. It was all a costume. He wasn't a simple cook named Kelly White's dad. He was a Rourke who had run away, and he had let me grow up in the dark, completely clueless. The sickness that took him, had it been the same genetic flaw that was killing Kaylin? Had my father died because he was too proud or too scared to go back to his poison family for help? The thought made me want to scream. And Kaylin, my cousin. The word felt dirty in my mouth. The connection I felt, that 1 in a million chance, wasn't destiny. It was just genetics. His whispered, desperate, I love you, over the phone now felt like a trick, a horrible mistake. My heart had reached for him. My body had literally given a piece of itself to him, and it was all built on a lie. I felt sick with a shame so deep it was suffocating. I had given a kidney to my own family, the same family that my father had risked everything to escape. I couldn't go home. Sarah was there. Sarah, with her tear-stained, traitorous face. I pictured her, making a deal with that monster, Anya, letting me believe Kaylin had thrown me away. She had watched me sob, watched my heart break, and she had stayed silent. She said she did it to save me, but it didn't feel like salvation. It felt like she had pushed me off a cliff. My feet, moving on their own, carried me to a part of the city I hadn't seen in years. It was an old neighborhood, quiet and shadowed. I recognized the small stone church on the corner, its doors always open. My mom used to bring me here sometimes after my dad died. Not because we were religious, but because it was quiet and no one asked you any questions. It was a place to just be. I slipped inside. The air was cool and smelled of old wood and candle wax. It was empty. I sank into a wooden pew in the back, the hard edge pressing into my sore body. In the deep silence, there was nowhere left to run from my own thoughts. The betrayal, the lies, the pain, it all came crashing down. I wasn't Kelly White, the girl who tried to help. I was a Rourke, a name that tasted like poison. A secret that had almost killed one of us and had definitely killed my father. My hand went to my pocket, and my fingers found the folded piece of paper from Mr. Clawdaw. A name and an address. The key to a vault, to a future Kaylin's grandfather had planned for him. A future free from the Rourkes. A future I now had the power to either unlock or destroy. What was I supposed to do with it? If I used it, if I went to that vault manager, I wasn't just helping Kaylin. I was stepping fully into the Rourke world. I would be choosing the family my father ran from. I would be choosing a life of secrets and danger, and looking over my shoulder forever. But if I did nothing, if I threw the paper away and walked, I would be abandoning Kaylin to Anya. I would be leaving him in the cage he was so desperate to escape. My kidney, the piece of me that was keeping him alive, would just be serving his family's purpose, keeping their heir alive until they could break his spirit completely. I thought of his voice on the phone, the frantic hope in it. He was counting on me. My head throbbed. Every option was a disaster. Every path led to a fresh kind of pain. For the first time, I understood why my father had just run. He didn't fight them. He just disappeared. Maybe that was the only way to win. My phone, which had been silent for what felt like hours, vibrated in my pocket. A new text from an unknown number. My stomach twisted, half hoping it was Finn with more news, half fearing it was Anya with another threat. It was a video file. My thumb hovered over the screen, my heart pounding a frantic, sick rhythm against my ribs. I pressed play. The video was shaky at first, then focused. It was our apartment. My apartment. The camera panned across my lumpy couch, the stack of books on the coffee table, the faded poster on the wall. And then it found Sarah. She was sitting in my favorite armchair, her hands clenched in her lap. She wasn't tied up or bruised, but her face was a mask of pure terror. Her eyes were wide, staring at something off camera. She looked small and broken. Then the camera turned, and Anya stepped into the frame. She was wearing a simple, elegant dress, and she smiled as if she were hosting a party. "Hello, Kelly," she said, her voice smooth and calm. It was a terrifying sound in the familiar space of my home. "I hope you're recovering well from your surgery. I'm afraid your friend and I have had a very serious conversation. You see, Sarah made a deal with me. A promise. And you, by running off to that dusty old jeweler, encouraged her to break it. That's very disappointing." Anya walked over to the armchair and placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder. Sarah flinched violently, a choked sob escaping her lips. Anya's smile didn't waver. Her grip tightened. "Business is all about leverage, Kelly. Mr. Claddagh gave you what he thought was leverage. A key to a dusty old vault.
It's quaint, really.
But my leverage is better. It's warmer. It breathes." Her eyes, cold and dead, stared directly into the camera. Into me. "I know about the vault manager. I know the address. I don't need you to tell me. I can simply wait for him to leave his house, and my associates can have a chat with him. But that would be messy. I prefer clean transactions." She leaned down, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Here is my new offer. The final one. You have 1 hour. You will bring me the book. You will bring me the paper from the jeweler. You will give me everything, and you will walk away forever. In return, your friend Sarah gets to see tomorrow. She made a foolish choice in siding with you again, even for a moment. But I'm feeling generous. I'll let her live with her mistake." The threat was unspoken but deafening. Anya's gaze was absolute. "If you go to the police, she will be charged as your accomplice in a conspiracy against the Rourke family. Our lawyers will bury her. If you try to go to the vault manager, I will know, and my associates will visit her mother's bakery again. This time, they'll bring matches. If you are 1 minute late," she let the sentence hang in the air, then gave Sarah's shoulder a gentle, terrifying squeeze. "Well, I think you understand. I'll send the address. Your clock is ticking." The video ended. The screen went black, but the image of Sarah's terrified face was burned into my mind. I couldn't breathe. This was it. The no way out scenario. Anya had me pinned. She had taken my friend, my home, my past, and now she was demanding my future, too. I could give her the book. I could sacrifice Kaylin. I could let that monster win. And in exchange, Sarah would live. Sarah, who had lied to me, who had betrayed me, who had collaborated with my enemy. But she was also Sarah, who had held my hair back when I was sick, who had celebrated my tiny victories and cried with me over my crushing defeats. She had been my only family for 10 years. She had made a terrible choice out of fear, out of a twisted, misguided love for me. Could I let her die for it? The alternative was unthinkable. To defy Anya would be to sign Sarah's death warrant. Anya wasn't bluffing. I had seen the proof on my phone, the shattered glass and spray paint on the bakery walls. She would do it. She would destroy Sarah and her family and feel nothing at all. I looked at the piece of paper in my hand. Kaylin's one chance at freedom. My father's hidden legacy. It was all right here. The tools to fight back. But to use them, I would have to sacrifice my best friend. What kind of person would I be if I made that choice? I would be a Rourke. Cold. Calculating. Trading one life for another. I would become the very thing I hated. There was no right answer. There was only loss. The phone buzzed again. An address. A warehouse down by the old docks. Of course. A deserted, ugly place where no one would hear you scream. I stared at the crucifix hanging on the far wall of the chapel. I didn't pray. I didn't know who I would even pray to. My world had been stripped of all its saints. All that was left were devils and the deals they made. Kalen's face flashed in my mind. His green eyes, so full of pain and hope. Don't let her win, his voice, a desperate echo. I had promised. We were connected. A part of me was a part of him. How could I condemn him to a life in chains? But then I saw Sarah. Her terrified face in my armchair. Her hand gripping mine as we ran from the hospital. Her stupid, brave, terrified love for me. She had been wrong. But she was mine. She was my person. And Anya had her. The choice wasn't a choice at all. It was a sentence. My thumbs moved over the screen of my phone, my movements stiff and robotic. I texted back the single word Anya was waiting for. Where? The reply came instantly, the same address as before, followed by a new message. Asterisk, come alone. Or the deal is off. Asterisk. I stood up, my body screaming in protest. The dull ache had become a sharp, stabbing pain again. I ignored it. I put the little leather book in one pocket and the slip of paper with the vault manager's name in the other. They felt like stones, dragging me down. I walked out of the cool silence of the chapel and back into the cold, unforgiving night. I left my hope in that pew. I left my anger and my fight. All I had left was the bitter taste of surrender. I was not walking to a fight. I was walking to an execution. I was going to sacrifice my cousin, my father's memory, and my own soul to save the friend who had broken my heart. I had tried to fix one small piece of the world, and in the end, I had only succeeded in shattering my own. The descent was over. I had hit the bottom. The walk to the docks was a slow-motion nightmare. Each step sent a fresh shock of pain through my side, a hot, tearing reminder of the wound that went deeper than my skin. The city lights blurred through the tears I refused to let fall. I was a ghost haunting my own life, invisible to the laughing couples and tired workers heading home. They didn't know my world had just been burned to the ground. Sarah's betrayal was a living thing, a cold snake wrapped around my heart, squeezing until I couldn't breathe. She had made a deal with the devil to save my life, but the life she saved wasn't mine anymore. It belonged to Anya now. It belonged to the Rourkes. I was just a ghost in a borrowed body, walking to my own surrender. I was going to trade Kalen's freedom for Sarah's life. A life for a life. It was a cold, hard calculation. A transaction. The kind of choice a Rourke would make. The thought made my stomach turn. My father had run from this poison that turned people into monsters who weighed souls on a scale. And here I was, walking right back into the fire, ready to become one of them to save the person who had pushed me in. Halfway there, under the sickly orange glow of a streetlight, I stopped. My whole body was shaking, not from the cold, but from a rage so deep and pure it felt like it could burn through my skin. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't become her. I wouldn't become them. I was my father's daughter, yes. But I was also my mother's daughter. A woman who had worked 2 jobs, who had loved a broken man, and who had taught me that the only thing you truly own in this world is your own heart. Anya couldn't have it. An idea sparked in the darkness of my mind. It was small and dangerous, a tiny flicker of defiance. It was a plan born not of hope, but of absolute desperation. It was the kind of plan you make when you have nothing left to lose, because everything has already been taken. My fear was gone, burned away by the anger. All that was left was a strange, terrifying calm. I finally knew what I had to do. I changed direction, my steps no longer heavy with defeat, but light with a terrible purpose. I found a small, 24-hour convenience store, its lights buzzing like trapped flies. I walked down the aisles, past the chips and the candy, my reflection a pale, grim stranger in the curved security mirrors. I bought a cheap, plastic-wrapped burner phone and a bottle of water with the last $20 in my pocket. The cashier didn't look up. To him, I was just another tired face in the middle of the night. He had no idea I was about to go to war. Outside, leaning against the cold brick wall of the store, I unwrapped the phone. My fingers felt clumsy, but my mind was sharp and clear. I took out the slip of paper for Mr. Cladaw, the vault manager's name and address. I took out Kaylin's book. I typed for what felt like an eternity, my thumbs flying across the tiny keypad. I wrote out everything. Kaylin's story, my father's story, the genetic disease, my donation, the kidnapping, Anya's threats, the vault, the poetry, the proof. I attached a photo of the paper from the jeweler. It was a long, rambling message, a confession and an accusation all in one. I typed in the email address for the international desk of the biggest newspaper in the world. Then, I saved it as a draft. One press of a button would send it. My finger hovered over the screen. Not yet. The warehouse was a giant, skeletal thing looming against the dark sky. It smelled of salt and rust and decay. The door creaked open before I could touch it. Inside, the space was vast and empty, except for a single, harsh light hanging from the ceiling, creating a small island in an ocean of shadow. In the center of the light, Sarah was tied to a metal chair. Her face was pale and blotchy with tears. She looked up as I entered, her eyes a mix of terror and shame. Anya stood beside her, a silhouette of perfect control. She held a phone in her hand, the screen casting a pale blue light on her face. She looked bored, like this was just another tedious item on her to-do list. "You're punctual," she said, her voice echoing in the huge space. "I appreciate that. It shows you understand the gravity of your situation." I didn't say anything. I just walked forward, the sound of my footsteps loud on the concrete floor. The pain in my side was a steady, pulsing drumbeat, but I didn't let it show on my face. I stopped about 10 feet away from them. "The book," Anya said, holding out a hand. "And the paper. Let's conclude this business." "Let her go first," I said, my voice flat and even. It didn't even sound like me. Anya laughed, a short, sharp sound with no humor in it. "You're not in a position to make demands, Kelly. Or should I say, cousin? Yes, I've known who you were from the moment the hospital ran your blood tests. The impossible match. It was never impossible. Just inconvenient. Your father was a sentimental fool, running from his own legacy. It seems you've inherited his weakness." "Let her go," I repeated, my gaze locked on hers. "No," Anya said simply. "You'll give me what I want. Then I will decide if your friend has earned her freedom." She took a step closer, her voice dropping. "You think you can save her. You can't. You think you can save Kaylin. You can't. You are a footnote in a story that is far too big for you to comprehend. Now give me the book." I reached into my pocket. My movements were slow, deliberate. I could feel Sarah's eyes on me, her silent plea. Anya watched my hand, a smug, triumphant smile playing on her lips. She had won. She had broken me. She had turned me into a coward, just like she wanted. I pulled out the burner phone. Anya's smile faltered. Her eyes narrowed. "What is that?" "Leverage," I said, holding it up. "You said business is all about leverage. You were right." I looked at Sarah. Her face was a mess of confusion and fear. "I'm sorry, Sarah," I said, and I meant it. I was sorry for what I was about to do. "I forgive you." Then I looked back at Anya. "My father might have been a fool to you," I said, my voice ringing with a strength I didn't know I had. "But he wasn't weak.
He was kind."
And you people, you confuse kindness with weakness. You think because we have hearts, we don't have teeth. You're about to find out how sharp mine are." Her face was a mask of cold fury. "You have nothing." "I have a story," I shot back. "And it's a really good one. It's about a secret heir to a $90 billion empire, kept prisoner by his own family. It's about his long-lost cousin, the daughter of the forgotten son, who gave him a kidney to save his life, only to have him stolen away. It's about a secret vault, a book of poetry, and a corporation built on secrets and poison." I took a breath. I've written it all down, and I've addressed it to a journalist I think you'll find very difficult to disappear. I showed her the screen, the drafted email ready to go. Her eyes widened almost imperceptibly. I saw a flicker of something in them. Not fear.
Not yet.
But uncertainty. It was enough. You're bluffing, she hissed. Am I? I asked. Your leverage is Sarah. You hurt her, you hurt me. My leverage is your family's name, its reputation, its stock price. I press this button, and the whole world knows what you are. All your dirty secrets scattered across the internet for everyone to see.
You can kill me.
You can kill Sarah, but you can't kill a story once it's been told. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. Anya stared at me, her mind clearly racing, calculating the odds, the potential damage. I could see the battle raging behind her cold eyes. For the first time, she wasn't in control. What do you want? She finally asked, her voice tight. You're going to untie Sarah, I said. You're going to let us walk out of that door. We will disappear. You will never contact us, or her family, or anyone we know, ever again. And Kaylin, she asked, a cruel twist to her lips. You would just abandon him? The question was a knife in my gut, but I couldn't flinch.
Not now.
Kaylin made his choice. I lied, my heart breaking with every word. It was a lie I had to tell. It was the only way this ended. And if I refuse?
Anya Chelinst.
Then I press send, I said, my thumb moving to hover over the button. And we all burned down together. It was her turn to make the impossible choice. Her family's clean, untouchable legacy, or the satisfaction of crushing me. I watched her, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I was betting everything on the idea that O'Rourke's first loyalty was always to the money, to the empire. Finally, she gave a stiff, almost imperceptible nod. She pulled a small knife from her pocket and cut the ropes holding Sarah to the chair. Sarah stumbled to her feet, rubbing her wrists, her eyes fixed on me in stunned disbelief. Go, Anya snarled, her voice thick with venom. Get out of my sight. I didn't move. Not until Sarah was standing beside me, her hand gripping my arm. I kept the phone held up, my thumb on the button. I never took my eyes off Anya as we started backing away, step by agonizing step, towards the door. Anya watched us, her face a blank mask again, but her eyes were burning with a hatred so intense it was a physical force. She hadn't just been beaten. She had been outplayed. And she would never forgive it. We slipped out the door and into the cold night air. We didn't run. We walked, fast and steady, away from the warehouse, away from the docks, away from the life that had almost swallowed me whole. We didn't speak until we were blocks away, back in the relative safety of the lit streets. Sarah finally broke the silence, her voice a ragged sob. Kelly,
I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry.
I was so scared. I thought she was going to kill you. I thought. I know what you thought, I said, my voice quiet and empty. I stopped and turned to face her. The city lights illuminated the tear tracks on her face, the raw shame in her eyes. I had saved her. I had walked into the lion's den for her. But seeing her now, all I could feel was the cold, hollow space where my trust used to be. You saved my life, she whispered. Yes, I said. I did. The words hung between us. It was a fact, not an absolution. I had done it because, despite everything, my love for her was still there, a stubborn, wounded thing. But love wasn't enough to fix this. I looked down at the burner phone still clutched in my hand. My finger was still hovering over the button. The power to expose the Rourkes, to bring their rotten empire crashing down, was right here. I could do it. I could get justice for my father. I could free Kaylin in a way that money never could. But the cost would be immense. It would mean a war that would put a target on my back and on Sarah's for the rest of our lives. Anya thought she had given me an impossible choice. But this was the real one. Vengeance or peace. O'Rourke's war or my father's escape. For the first time, the choice was entirely mine. I held the power. I had taken it, and I had no idea what to do with it. I looked at the phone in my hand, the screen glowing with a power that could ruin a dynasty or save a single soul. Then I looked at Sarah, my friend, my sister, my betrayer, my savior. She was all of them at once, a tangled mess of fear and love that had nearly gotten us both killed. The cold space in my chest where my trust had been was still there, a raw, empty wound. But looking at her now, shivering under the streetlights, I felt something else creep in around the edges of the pain. Understanding. She hadn't been strong, but she had tried to protect me in the only way she knew how. It was a broken, misguided way, but it had come from a place of love. And Anya had used that love like a weapon against us both. The bakery, I said, my voice quiet. We'll fix it. Tears streamed down her face, but these were different. They were tears of relief, of a fragile, impossible hope. Kelly, don't, I said, holding up a hand. It's not fixed. We're not fixed, but we'll start with the bakery. I took a deep breath. Anya was right about one thing. This is a story that's too big for me. It's too big for you. It's too big for one email sent in the middle of the night. My thumb moved across the screen, not to the send button, but to the delete key. I erased the entire draft. The long story, the proof, the threats. All of it.
Gone.
Sarah stared at me, her eyes wide with confusion. What are you doing? You won. You had her. No, I said, a strange certainty settling over me. I had a stalemate. We would have walked away, and she would have spent the rest of her life, and the rest of the Rourke fortune, trying to crush us. That's not winning. That's just a different kind of cage. My father didn't run, so I could spend my life fighting his war. He ran so I could be free. And that's what I was going to be.
But I was going to take Kaylin with me.
I looked down at the slip of paper from Mr. Cladaw, a man who manages the vault, and then I looked at Kaylin's book. A key for someone who doesn't speak the language, but has a good heart and a sharp eye. Grandfather Declan hadn't been planning an escape. An escape is running. This was too careful, too intricate. This wasn't a plan for running. It was a plan for a revolution. Anya thought the vault was just money. She thought I was just a girl who wanted a piece of it. She saw everything as a transaction. But Declan, the man who loved poetry, he knew better. A story isn't a transaction. It's a legacy. The vault manager, I said, thinking out loud. Mr. Cladaw said he was loyal to Declan. He's been waiting 30 years. Waiting for what? Sarah whispered. For the right person to show up with a key, I said. My mind was suddenly clear, the fog of pain and betrayal lifting. I knew what to do. It wasn't a choice between vengeance and peace. It was a choice between their rules and mine. We're not going to his house, I said. That's what Anya would expect. That's a trap. I pulled out my own phone, the one with all my contacts, and scrolled to the one number I hadn't called in years. I pressed the button. It rang 3 times before a sleepy, gruff voice answered. Hello. Uncle Ben, I said. There was a pause. My Uncle Ben was my mother's brother, a retired cop who now ran a small private investigation business out of his garage. He was grumpy and suspicious, and the most stubborn man I knew. Kelly, do you know what time it is? Is everything okay? His voice sharpened with worry. No, I said. Nothing is okay, but I think I know how to fix it. I need a name, and I need it fast. I gave him the name of the vault manager from Mr. Cladaw's paper. I need to know everything about him, but most importantly, I need to know where he works. Not his home address, his office. He's a lawyer, an old one, probably the best. A lawyer for who? Uncle Ben asked, the suspicion thick in his voice. For the Rourke family, I said. The silence on the other end of the line was heavy. Kelly, what have you gotten yourself into? The family business, I said, and a small, bitter smile touched my lips. Just get me the address, Uncle Ben. Please. It's important. Give me an hour, he said, and hung up. An hour later, we were in a taxi, heading for the financial district. The address Uncle Ben had given me wasn't for a law firm. It was for the Rourke Industries global headquarters, a sleek, silent tower of dark glass that pierced the sky. The heart of the beast. "This is insane," Sarah breathed, staring up at the building. "We can't just walk in there." "I can," I said. I paid the driver and got out. I turned to Sarah. "You go to your mom. You stay with her. No matter what you hear, you stay with her." "I'm not leaving you," she said, her face pale but determined. "Yes, you are," I said, my voice gentle but firm. "You tried to protect me your way. Now I have to do this my way. This part I have to do alone." She looked like she wanted to argue, but she saw the look in my eyes and nodded, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. "Be careful, Kelly." "Always," I lied. I walked into the lobby. It was like a cathedral built to worship money. Cold marble floors, a ceiling so high it got lost in the shadows, and a silence that felt heavy and expensive. A severe-looking woman sat behind a massive stone desk. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice designed to make people feel small. I didn't look at her. I looked at the name of the man from the paper, now written on a fresh slip in my hand, next to his office number. I walked straight to the secure elevators. A guard stepped into my path, a big man with a blank face. "You need an appointment," he said. "I have one," I said, meeting his eyes. I held up the leather book. It was made 30 years ago. "Tell him Declan sent his granddaughter to read him a poem." The guard's blank expression flickered. He looked at the book, at the ancient Celtic knot on the cover. He knew what it was. He picked up his phone, his eyes never leaving mine, and murmured into it. A moment later, a quiet chime sounded, and the elevator doors slid open. He nodded. Top floor. The elevator ride was silent and smooth, a slow ascent into the heavens of power and wealth. The doors opened directly into a large, quiet office. The man sitting behind a desk the size of a small boat was old, with a mane of white hair and eyes that had seen everything. He was the man Mr. Claddagh had told me to find. He was also the man whose name was on the Rourke Industries letterhead as chairman of the board. He wasn't the vault manager. He was the kingmaker. "Miss White," he said, his voice calm and deep. "Or should I say, Miss Rourke? I have been wondering when you might arrive." I walked forward and placed the book on his desk. "You've been waiting a long time. Declan was my dearest friend," he said, his hand resting on the book, "and the true heart of this family. His brother, Edward, was the brain. But a brain without a heart is a monstrous thing. When Declan died and his son Michael vanished, I feared the heart was gone for good." He looked at me, his gaze intense. "Anya called me an hour ago. She told me about a foolish, emotional girl who was making threats. She wanted me to authorize a permanent solution, but I told her to wait. I wanted to see this foolish girl for myself." "Am I foolish?" I asked. "You are your father's daughter," he said with a small smile. "And your grandfather's heir. You have his heart. And it seems you have your grandmother's fire. She was a fighter." He leaned forward. "The vault is real. The money is real. It is enough for you and Kaelin to disappear and live comfortably for the rest of your lives." That was Declan's plan B. "What was plan A?" I asked. He opened a drawer in his desk and pulled out a single, thick file. He pushed it across the polished surface towards me. This is the vault. Not money, but proof. 30 years of proof. Every crime, every bribe, every threat Edward Rourke and his creatures like Anya have ever committed to build and protect this empire. It's all here." Declan gathered it all. "It's a weapon that can bring the whole company to its knees." I stared at the file. It was the story I had tried to write on the burner phone, but this one was real, with names and dates and evidence. It was a corporate death sentence. Declan's will states that upon his death, control of his shares, 51% of this company, was to be held in trust, the old man continued. They were to be released to the first of his bloodline who came of age and proved themselves worthy of the Rourke legacy. Not Edward's legacy of greed, but Declan's legacy of honor. Kaelin is a good boy, but he has no interest in this world. He wants to be free of it. He looked at me. But you have walked through the fire. You have faced down Anya. You have your father's kindness and your grandfather's courage. You are the one he was waiting for. The air left my lungs. The shares. The company. The power. It wasn't about the money in the vault. The vault was the company. The board is loyal to Declan's memory, not to Edward's cruelty, he said. They are waiting for a leader. They are waiting for a Rourke with a heart. It was all there. A kingdom built on poison, and I was being handed the crown and the antidote. I could take it, and I could change everything. I could redirect the billions of dollars from corporate greed to actual good. I could build hospitals, fund schools, clean up the messes my family had made for a generation. I could turn the Rourke name from a curse into a blessing. Or I could walk away. I could take the money and go see the ocean with Kaelin, just like I promised. I could be free. I thought of my father, working himself to an early grave, hiding from this legacy. I thought of Kaelin, a prisoner of his own name. I thought of Sarah's mother, her dream shattered by a casual act of cruelty. I looked at the file, then at the old man's expectant face. Freedom wasn't running away. My father had tried that. Freedom was having the power to stand your ground. Get Kaelin home, I said, my voice clear and steady. And call a board meeting. The old man smiled, a genuine, relieved smile that transformed his stern face. Welcome home, Miss Rourke. 2 days later, I was sitting in a small, clean room. It wasn't a hospital. It was a private recovery center, quiet and peaceful. The door opened and Kaelin walked in. He was thin and pale, but his brilliant green eyes were clear. He wore simple jeans and a sweater, not a hospital gown. He looked at me, and his face was a mixture of awe, relief, and a deep, soul-shattering gratitude. Kelly, he whispered. I stood up, the ache in my side a faint, distant memory. We didn't hug. The word cousin was still too new, too strange between us. But I saw the love in his eyes, and he saw it in mine. It wasn't the romantic love I had imagined, but it was something deeper, stronger. It was the love of family, of survivors. You did it, he said, shaking his head in disbelief. You actually did it. You set me free. We set each other free, I said. The next morning, I stood in a boardroom on the top floor of the Rourke Tower, the city sprawling beneath me like a map of my new life. Kaelin was beside me, his presence a quiet, steady support. The old lawyer, my grandfather's friend, stood at the head of the table. The file was in front of him. Anya and Kaelin's father, Edward, were there, their faces like stone. They looked at me not as a girl from a diner, but as the ghost of their past, risen up to claim their future. I didn't have to say a word. The lawyer laid out the terms. Edward would retire. Anya would be dismissed. The Rourke Foundation's entire mission would be rewritten, its vast resources redirected. Its first act, I had insisted, would be to establish a fund for families bankrupted by medical debt, starting with a new, state-of-the-art wing for St. Jude's, the public hospital where my story began. Its second act would be to anonymously write a check to a small bakery owner, enough to rebuild her shop 10 times over. It wasn't vengeance. It was justice. It wasn't a victory. It was a beginning. I had walked into this story as a nobody, a girl who found a stranger on the street. But I had been a Rourke all along, and I had finally come home, not to the empty house of my ancestors, but to the future my grandfather had dreamed of. A future where our name would finally mean something good. Kaelin and I would go see the ocean, not as a boy and his savior, but as family, and we would build it all together. Edward didn't shout. Anya didn't make a sound. Their defeat wasn't loud. It was a deep, crushing silence. Edward, a man who had built an empire on force and fear, just seemed to shrink in his expensive chair. All the power drained out of him, leaving behind a frail, bitter old man. Anya stood behind him, her face perfectly blank, but her hands were clenched into tight fists at her sides. She stared at me, and her eyes held a promise of hatred that would never, ever fade. She had been outplayed, and it was a wound that would never heal. Mr. Sterling, the old lawyer, slid a set of papers across the table to Edward. "Your retirement," he said, his voice calm and final. Edward signed them without a word, his hand shaking slightly. Then, he stood up and walked out of the room, not looking at anyone. Anya followed him, a loyal shadow to a fallen king. As she passed me, she didn't even turn her head, but I felt the chill of her presence like a physical touch. Then they were gone. The room was silent. All these powerful board members, men and women who moved markets with a single phone call, were looking at me. They weren't looking at a girl who used to serve coffee. They were looking at the new heart of Rourke Industries. The weight of it all, of the money, the power, the responsibility, settled on my shoulders. It felt heavier than a mountain. I looked at Kalen. He reached over and squeezed my hand. His touch was an anchor. It wasn't a look of victory that passed between us. It was a shared look of exhaustion, of disbelief. We had done it. We had survived. But the war had left scars we couldn't see. "The work begins now," Mr. Sterling said, his voice softer now. He was looking at me with my grandfather's eyes, full of pride and a little bit of sadness. I nodded, because I couldn't find the words. The fight to get here was over. The fight to be worthy of it was just beginning. That night, I didn't go to the grand, empty house they told me was now mine. I went back to my apartment, the one Sarah and I had shared. The keys still worked. The moment I stepped inside, the wrongness of it hit me. It smelled like us, like cheap air freshener and takeout food. But it felt like a museum of a life that wasn't mine anymore. My lumpy couch, my stack of overdue library books, the life of Kelly White was all here, but Kelly White was a ghost. Sarah was gone. Her room was empty, the bed stripped bare. There was a single white envelope on my pillow. My hands trembled as I picked it up. It wasn't a threat. It was a goodbye. "Kelly," the note began, in her familiar, looping handwriting. Asterisk, "I'm in my mom's. I don't know how to fix what I broke. I know I hurt you. I know I was a coward. But seeing you in that warehouse, so strong, so brave, I realized I never really knew you at all. Or maybe I just didn't want to see it. You belong in that world of big fights and impossible choices. I don't. I belong here, with flour on my hands and my mom yelling at me to sweep the floor. I love you. I will always, always love you. And I will always be proud of you. But I can't be your best friend right now. I don't know how. Maybe someday we can find our way back. I hope so. But for now, I think we both need to figure out who we are without each other. Be safe. Sarah, asterisk. I sank down onto my bed, the letter clutched in my hand. The tears I had refused to cry in the warehouse, in the boardroom, they finally came. Sobs shook my entire body, raw and painful. I had won. I had taken control of a $90 billion empire. And I had never felt more alone in my entire life. The victory felt hollow, the price of it too high. The one person who had been my anchor through everything was gone, and it was my new life that had pushed her away. I had traded my best friend for a kingdom I never even wanted. A few days later, I found my way to the bakery. The morning sun was bright, making the shattered front window look even more tragic. The spray paint was gone from the bricks, scrubbed away, but the scars remained. Inside, a construction crew was already at work, their saws and hammers a loud, hopeful noise. Sarah and her mom were near the back, covered in dust, trying to sort through boxes of salvaged equipment. Sarah saw me first. She froze, a dirty rag in her hand. Her mom turned, her friendly face hardening when she saw me. I deserved that. I had brought this storm to their door. I walked towards them, my heart pounding. This was harder than facing down Anya. This was real. "We don't want your money," Sarah's mom said, her voice sharp. "We'll rebuild on our own." "I know," I said softly. "I wasn't here with money. I was just here as Kelly. I came to help." I looked at Sarah. Her eyes were red and tired. "I got your letter," I said. "You're right. I don't know who I am right now. And I don't know what our friendship is going to look like. But I know I don't want to live in a world where it doesn't exist at all." My voice broke on the last few words. I saw a flicker of the old Sarah in her eyes, the girl who would have hugged me without a second thought. But she stayed where she was. "So," I said, taking a shaky breath and forcing a small smile, "we start with the bakery." I held out a hand, not to her, but towards a pile of broken shelves in the corner. "I'm not very strong, but I can carry things." Sarah's mom stared at me, her arms crossed. But Sarah took a small, hesitant step forward. And then another. She didn't take my hand, but she picked up the other end of a broken plank. We lifted it together. It was heavy and awkward. We carried it outside and threw it in the dumpster. Then we went back in and got another one. We worked like that for an hour in silence. It wasn't a solution. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was something. It was a start. Before I left, I handed Sarah's mom a new envelope. Inside wasn't cash. It was the deed to the building, signed over to her, free and clear, from a holding company that had no connection to the Rourke name. "A gift," I said, "from a friend." She didn't thank me, but she took it. And for the first time, she met my eyes, and I saw a flicker of something other than anger. I saw a grudging respect. It was more than I could have hoped for. 3 months passed. They were a blur of meetings and paperwork, of learning a language of finance and power that felt foreign on my tongue. The Rourke Foundation was reborn. St. Jude's had a new wing breaking ground. The bakery reopened, bigger and brighter than before. Sarah and I talked. We had coffee. It was awkward and careful. We were like two strangers trying to remember a language we used to speak fluently. The easy comfort was gone, replaced by a painful awareness of everything that had happened. But we kept trying. We didn't give up. One evening, Kalen picked me up. He didn't drive one of the black cars that the company provided. He was in an old, beat-up truck he bought himself. He was smiling, a real, easy smile that reached his green eyes. "Ready?" he asked. I nodded, getting in. We drove for hours, leaving the city and its glass towers behind. We were on a quiet, two-lane road when I saw a shape by the side of the road, a person huddled next to a worn-out suitcase. The full circle of it hit me so hard it knocked the wind out of me. It was almost the same scene. The same lonely stretch of road. The same desperate posture. Kalen saw it too. He slowed the truck to a stop without me having to say a word. I got out. This time, I wasn't shaking. This time, I wasn't a scared girl with nothing but a phone. The person looked up, a young woman with tired, fearful eyes. "Are you okay?" I asked. She shook her head, tears welling up. "My car broke down. My wallet was stolen. I have nowhere to go." It was a familiar story, the kind I used to feel helpless in the face of. But not anymore. I didn't just offer her a ride. I pulled out my phone and made a call to a women's shelter, one the foundation now fully supported. I arranged a room for her, a warm meal, and a meeting with a job counselor in the morning. I gave her the number of a car service that would take her there, the bill already paid. I handed her some cash for incidentals. I did it all quietly, calmly. I didn't offer pity. I offered a solution. I offered a hand up, not a handout. It was a small act in the grand scheme of things, but it felt more real, more powerful than any boardroom decision I had ever made. I had turned my pain into someone else's rescue. As we drove away, I looked back at the woman, who was now standing, her shoulders a little straighter, a flicker of hope on her face. I hadn't just fixed a small piece of the world. I had given her the tools to start fixing her own. We finally reached our destination, the end of the road. Kalen parked the truck, and we got out. The air was cool and tasted of salt. Below us, stretching out into the darkness, was the ocean. We walked down the sandy path, and the sound of the waves crashing on the shore grew louder, a steady, powerful rhythm. It was the sound of forever. We stood there on the sand, side by side, the cool water washing over our feet. We had made it. After all the pain, all the lies, all the fighting, we had kept our promise. He looked at me, his green eyes shining in the moonlight. "Thank you, Kelly," he whispered. His voice was thick with an emotion that went deeper than words. "For my kidney, for my life." You would have done the same for me, I said. And I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that it was true. We were family. We had found each other in the wreckage of our past, and we had built something new, something strong, something real. The future was still a vast, unknown ocean in front of us. There would be other storms, other battles to fight. Anya and Edward were gone, but the world was full of monsters. But standing here, with my cousin beside me and the sound of the ocean in my ears, I wasn't afraid. I was home. What did this story teach you about the true meaning of family? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories that will change how you see the world.